This is the Digital Savage Experience Podcast, hosted by Prokopchuk, bringing you all things digital marketing, tech, business, and motivation. What's stopping you from becoming relentless in all aspects of life? Are you ready to become a digital savage? Let's get into today's episode.
Hey everyone, this is Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience Podcast. Today I have with me Butta B-Rocka, international recording artist and Amazon best-selling author. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. My
pleasure. So tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are now?
Oh my goodness, I have a long journey. My name is Butta B-Rocka, as you stated. I'm an international recording artist. I started making money and actually doing it seriously when I was about 15, living in Tampa, Florida, but I was coming to Atlanta, Georgia, working with Bobby Brown and working with Usher. And that's how I got started. Around 17, 18, I had 2 deals on the table with Warner and with Sony. And I ended up getting into a car accident, which left me drinking from a straw for 6 months. From that, it took me a year to come back into the field. And when I came back, the deals were no longer on the table. So, of course, I went through a little depression because music has, been the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And so got married, had kids, the whole picket white fence, type scenario. But I was still doing scenes in the music industry, but I was behind the scenes at that point, doing stuff for artists like TLC, Akon, and other people, Black, Lil Zane, and other people like that. And eventually one day I was in the studio and I heard someone reference, there was like a guitar player there who handed someone their demo. And I know I'm definitely telling my age talking about some demos, but they handed someone their demo and they was like, on top of me being a guitar player, I'm an artist as well. And when they left, the people was laughing at them. And was like, man, people need to stay in their lane. If you play guitar, just play guitar, man. That's the only thing we hired you for, when he left. And that was like a pivoting moment for me because I was like, okay, if I want to be known as more than just a background singer, I'm going to have to get out of that lane because, clearly this is what people think, of you when you are trying to do multiple things. So I kind of detached from doing backgrounds and started working on my own project. I put my own project out in 2010, and I'm a songwriter as well. So as a songwriter, you either would be in my ASCAP or CSAC. I'm with CSAC, and I did a Christmas show, which was really, really big to be able to get on. And I had just signed to CSAC. So they put me on their Christmas show. They put me on their magazine as the next big up and coming, artist or whatever. I did a show for Centennial Park, which was in front of 5,000 plus people. And that was my second big show with my own band and my own material. And from there, I got an offer to go over to Africa, and I've been touring ever since then.
No, that's great. And then you started at 15. Before then, did you always know, obviously, that you wanted to be a singer? I'm sure you were obviously blessed with a gift to sing, but how did you kind of decide to do so?
Yeah, my mom said I came out singing out the womb. But yeah, I definitely have been singing all my life. At age 4, I started doing talent shows and everything. I won, but kids, you're a baby and you singing. I don't really know if you really won because everybody wins, in my opinion. You get a car, type thing. So, but I've been singing for a very long time. I started taking it serious when I lived in Tampa. I was about 11. We started doing talent shows. I was getting whooped. Getting whooped big time at first because I was new. So I had to learn the ropes. I had to learn the etiquette of being on stage. You got to have a lot of stamina to be able to get up there and perform and dance and do all these different things and everything. So, it was kind of tough at first. And then, and I was singing with my cousins, and we had this group called NOLT, which meant none other like this. And, thought we was cute and doing it. And, it went really good. And then somehow we got into the studio with this guy named Geo Hall, that lives here in Atlanta. And then we started working with Bobby Brown's camp and started opening for Usher and stuff like that. And he had just got his record deal. He was chubby back then, a little 14, 15-year-old little chubby little dude, just had his first little song called Call Me the Mac. And, I thought I was doing it up because I was 1 year older than him. So that's how we got started. But I've always known I wanted to sing.
That's awesome. And from when you started till now, has there been any kind of changes in the music industries in terms of making it to now? Obviously, like the regression rate is very high. People get in, get out, get certain opportunities. What do you need to kind of withstand it all and kind of pass through the test of time?
Honestly, I think that you have to, with anything, you have to be able to adjust to the times because the times have definitely changed. I mean, back in my day, and this sounds so crazy to say, but like we didn't have all that social media like they had back then. Because if we did, man, people really would have blown up, a lot sooner. You can put one song on social media and it blows up like crazy and become an overnight success. And we didn't have that. We had to really bust our butts and everything. But on the flip side of that, it kind of makes it hard a little bit for, I'm not going to say real artists, but I'm saying it makes it hard for some artists that really, really are busting their butt and really putting their all out there, but they don't have the social media numbers as, the young lady or the young guy that, got a more popular song that is a little younger than them and stuff. So it's a little harder, but you have to be able to stay relevant. You have to be able to shift with the times. You can't come with the old school and you in 2020. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you have to embrace technology in whatever kind of industry or walk of life you're in. For example, like TikTok is kind of blowing up now. And the main basis is music. So people tie in different songs, different clips to their, video. And there's a lot of songs and a lot of artists that blew up solely from, that. They become trending and then they get the streams. So at this point, you can be an independent artist in 2020. And I think the barrier to entry is a lot less than it would have been, 10, 20 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many opportunities as an independent artist. I'm an independent artist. And with me being that, I'm able to do whatever I want to do. And, I have a lot of friends that have won Grammys and are big, big, big stars and everything, but they don't have the flexibility that I have, and I can maneuver however I want to maneuver. And, it's not all about the big companies anymore. You can put your stuff on YouTube yourself. You can get that digital distribution. There's so many things and so many opportunities now that we didn't have before. And you can literally take control of your music. Yeah,
I agree. So what motivates you to succeed?
My children motivate me the most to succeed. They are definitely following my footsteps. They are in the music industry and they're in the digital, world and everything. And they're looking up to me. So that's the biggest motivation. And then I have a lot of people that, contact me and saying that, my music inspires them and my story inspires them. Just 2018, December 2018, I ended up having a torn meniscus, dislocated my shoulder, torn meniscus, torn ACL. So this past year has been a little rough in regards to being able to tour, because I've been touring like since 2007. I left my corporate job, and I've been touring all over the world since then on a regular basis. So when I injured myself, of course, that that was an eye opener for me. And I had to figure out, okay, besides being on stage, what else am I good at? So since then, I've been able to produce a book that became an Amazon bestseller. It became a bestseller in 7 hours, called Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying. It's about the music industry and my ups and downs in the music industry. It's so many things that has happened since I injured myself, but really good things that has made me become creative in other ways.
Yeah, and I think it's important to turn around, certain pitfalls or things that happen to you, either, health issues or, like you said, injuries or losses or anything, financial, business things, and then obviously not dwell on them or sit there and feel sorry for yourself like you can't do it anymore. Constantly redefine yourself and constantly improve. And obviously, I think personally, if I'm not kind of redefining myself and trying to be a better person day after day and grow, you become stagnant and kind of complacent with life.
Yeah, you know what? That's something that I talk about heavy in my book, because you're put on this earth to grow. Like you just said, you become stagnant and you're not growing and you're not learning, and that's not going to be productive for you in any form. So you have to be open to, you have to be open for change. Change is hard, but it's necessary.
I agree. So what's one thing that you may have seen as a weakness in yourself in the past that you've turned around and utilized as a strength today?
Well, when I say change is hard, I think that's one of my biggest weaknesses, because it took me a minute to be open for change. You can get so stuck on how things used to be. I was so stuck on, I'm a singer. That's all I know how to do, and that's all I've been doing. What else am I going to do? And it became a very pivotal moment for me, but I had to learn, okay, I do have other talents. And if I can't be on stage, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? So it forced me to look within, and it forced me to have to change. I'm used to, changing for me was scary because I had a safety blanket. When you know where your next meal is going to come from or where your next show is going to come from, and all of a sudden you don't know that anymore. Of course, that's scary. It's very scary to not have that security, but I had to jump out there and just go for it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's oftentimes the hardest part, getting kind of that 1 foot and then getting that momentum. Once you get momentum, regardless if you get any trials or, pitfalls or roadblocks, you learn from those and grow. And then the challenge now prepares you for the bigger challenge later.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what's one piece of advice you can leave with the audience, personal or professional? To not be afraid to jump out there and just go for it. Like you said, you got to put one foot forward and just keep going. You have an idea, just go with it. You know what I mean? It might not be the best idea. You might have to make you have to, what I call plan, do, and review, where you got to plan it out, do it, and then review it and see if it's working. And if it's not working, then just adjust your sails, Yeah, I agree. And I think it's important to, try new things and fail. Oftentimes you do fail. And from failure, you adapt or pivot and get to your goals. And I think with that, even starting, once you start, a lot of people, a higher percentage, even when they start, quit too early. So they get discouraged. They think they're not getting the numbers in terms of music, you know what I mean? Yeah. In terms of exposure or a deal, and then they just quit. And I think people quit too early. This podcast is kind of a side, hustle for me now. And I like talking to people and networking, but it has grown. And I think I put off starting it for like 5 years. And then I finally said, let me start it. And then it started picking up steam, and it's still picking up steam, obviously. But I started it 2 years ago. So, I could have still been saying, oh, maybe one day. And then time's not going to stop and wait for you.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to stop and wait for you. You have to seize the moment and just go for it. And one thing I want to piggyback on is you are going to fail, but at least fail forward. You know what I mean? And keep going. And again, learn from the things that are happening and don't be afraid. People get so stuck in just the start. You know what I mean? Like you said, you had this dream and you wanted to do it for 5 years, but it took you till 2 years ago to finally say, you know what, I'm done. I'm going for it. And since you went for it, you've learned along the way. Every podcast is a different learning curve for you. You know, some of the things that you tried at the beginning of your podcast you might have changed by now. You know, your flow, your whatever. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to just go, to just start.
Yeah, and it's constantly improving. And before it was in video, now it's video. Before it was just a white wall. Now my wife built this little set for me at home. So I like this.
I like your set.
Yeah, so I got to thank her for that. But yeah, like you said, and if you do fail, not being, angry or spiteful about it, like you said, learn from it and take something positive out of it and move forward.
Right.
So I really appreciate you stopping by today. Can you let the audience know how they can find you?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on all social media at Butta B-Rocka. That's B-U-T-T-A, B as in boy, R-O-C-K-A. And I'm on all social media under the same thing.
Awesome. Thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Hey everyone, this is Roman Prokopchuk from Roman Prokopchuk's Digital Savage Experience podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, so that's always good. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
This podcast has been brought to you by Nova Zora Digital. Find out how Nova Zora Digital can help your company grow online. Learn more at novazoradigital.com. Until next time, all you digital savages.